It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
Pow! Sunday morning, 10:06 a.m. Good morning. FM News 101 KXL. I'm Nick Miles, and you're listening to Portland's Automotive Radio Show. Test Miles, locally created, nationally celebrated. Our team of misfits, rapscallions, and ne'er-do-wells has been assembled to bring you the world's most up-to-date automotive news, reviews, and comment. So let's introduce them. Father of the show and voice of maturity, Brad Boyer. Good morning, Brad.
Maturity.
Yeah.
Those two have never crossed paths.
It's relevant, by the way, the level of maturity.
Yeah. So I had an interesting week schlepping around a multi-billionaire for 4 days, and GM gave us a nice Denali to impress him with, which it did.
He was
So it'll be
impressed.
fun.
Did he buy one? Did he buy GM?
He could exactly. He would have had it not been for the recalls.
Oh,
But no, it was
Oh,
fascinating, and again, you know, what goes on in the limo stays in the limo. So I think
except on this show.
there could have been some insider trading tips going on.
Uh-oh. Well, it wouldn't be insider trading tips if he was telling you should invest in this, that, or the other.
Good point. Yeah,
That's just advice. He didn't say, by the way, the stock's going to jump 20 points next week.
he might have. I just don't have any money.
Well, all right. We could take a week. Maybe we could take a fundraiser and buy some shares.
Test Miles
and see if
fundraiser.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
good.
$3 together. The man who is truly passionate about cars, but not much else, Sean Walker. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Nick.
How's your week been?
My week's been okay. Yesterday was an actually good day. Went up to the coast and did some wine tasting at Mary Hill and a couple other wineries.
And then drove back.
I waited a while before I drove back. It wasn't drinking and driving. We were enjoying the scenery and just hanging out with some good friends.
Good. You had a good time.
Had a good time, yeah. It
What
was a
did you
good day.
drive up there?
I drove the Civic.
Honda Civic?
Honda Civic
Are
EXL.
Okay, you're going to tell us about that later.
I will tell us about it a little later.
All right. Perfect. My pal and professional passenger, also the show's producer, Andrew Awesome.
Hello, Nick.
How are you?
I'm doing quite lovely, sir.
What's going on?
This week has been quite a good week. I've put in a few hours in the old Acura CL with my girlfriend, Whitney.
And what about driving it?
As actually, I got a few hours into it. And then I made the arrangements. I'm excited. You know, when you're about to get a new phone, you get anxiety and you get all uppity. Like, I'm about to get a new phone, so it's happy. I can't wait to install games in it.
Thank goodness that you're getting a new phone.
And I might as well have a flip phone. It's archaic.
I don't know, it's more archaic than that. You usually have to put a few logs in there to get the steam going before it works.
Yeah, exactly. I have to program it in DOS. It's annoying.
Our news quiz is, it's time for that. It's where I ask questions of the crew of stories that may have happened in the week, and they tell me their fabulous answers. So what car can't escape the crooks? Anyone?
Ding.
Ding for Andrew.
I feel like I want to make like a ditty, like doot 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 doot, like a song thing that we should.
That's
be doing.
that's the Benny Hill music.
Oh, yeah, we can do that. That's fine. I feel like a clown. The answer: Ford Escape.
That's right. Why?
Because it's the most sought after and stealable SUV crossover, according to the National Insurance of Crime Bureau.
Yes. Isn't that interesting that the Ford Escape would be the most stolen car in the United States?
I would have had no idea.
And most stolen SUV and CV. In fact, it's funny that all top 3 of the vehicles are Fords.
And the
Either
Escape,
they're really popular or they're really easy to steal. One of the two. I'll leave it up to you to decide.
yeah, from 2010 to present, 1,421 stolen.
Next question. This starter is a non-starter for GM. What am I talking about?
The 5th or 6th recall in the last 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah,
I think it's the 3.36 million more vehicles
Right.
recalled by GM for a starter. It's actually an ignition switch, and it turns off the power steering and the power braking while it's driving, which is not very good.
No, this is.
Jeez.
They're having some ignition. If they might want to replace the whole ignition department.
Yeah, don't they just want to like start over from scratch at this point? Fire some people?
The same guy who okayed the ignition switch on the other recall is the same guy responsible for this. So I think he's probably not going to be with GM. I think Barra has probably sent him his papers by now.
Well, like this is relatively big news, so it's not like he can go to another manufacturer and like, no big, no, it's cool. You don't worry about who I
Maybe
am.
go to a China manufacturer or something,
Yeah, no
since
doubt.
all they do is copy the American cars.
Come on.
Ooh, ouch. Ouch.
They do. China
shots
cars are
fired.
exactly the same, just different badging.
Sean just burnt a whole nation right there.
Shots
Wouldn't
fired.
be the first time.
Who is getting satisfied this year?
Well, that's vague.
All right. Who is getting satisfied? Tell me.
Me?
All right, go on.
Ding. Lincoln und GMC.
And they're getting satisfied. Why?
The Lincoln and GMC are the highest rated brands in the 18th Annual Vehicle Satisfaction Awards.
Right.
Lincoln was the most satisfying top premium brand, with GMC rising from 17th overall to 8th, with numerous first place awards in betwixt.
They are. They're doing well, and it's about time. Although I said in my Fox News piece about the Lincoln MKC, we've heard 100 times that Lincoln are refreshing themselves. This might just be the car to do it.
I hope so.
They're actually doing a lot of work. They're not just. It's not about image for them. They're actually trying to make their cars really, really premium.
Yeah, I like the Lincolns.
All right. Next question. Alabama is getting classier and more jobs because of which manufacturer?
Did it say classier for sure?
Yeah.
They're getting more jobs.
Yeah.
I'll ding in on this.
Okay.
Ding, ding.
Brad.
It's, Mercedes is upping their production significantly. And it's on the heels of BMW. Their production, they expect to be up to like 450,000 domestic vehicles by 2016.
Right, and they're 150,000 now, so isn't that 300,000 increase? That's a lot of vehicles, and plus the fact the South is doing so well with vehicle manufacturing. Georgia, Kia's in
Nissan.
Georgia, and Nissan's in, is it Nashville?
Nashville.
And then Mississippi, somebody's in Mississippi. VW is in Mississippi, I think. So the South is doing really, really well.
This is going to produce the new C-Class, so that'll be great to see.
And I'm going to go drive that in Seattle in a couple of weeks' time, which will be fun. Last question. What car group believes in quality, not quantity? Anyone? Sean?
Is it Hyundai?
It is.
Hyundai,
Hyundai
yeah.
Kia. Yeah, tell me why.
I have no clue. I'm just guessing. It was a random
that was a good guess.
Yeah, they're actually, J.D. Power's criteria involves quality testing of 100 cars, and they actually have decided that these guys are getting better. They're narrowly beating Toyota in their quality.
You know, Toyota, they were the heir to the throne, but the Scion actually was the dagger that did it. It dropped them because not a lot of people thought the
signs were good quality?
Yeah, so that was their demise.
Wow.
That what's dropped them from the first.
Yeah, and that's sad because Scion's their new brand. I'd hate them to see having problems with Scion now. They kind of over all of their other problems.
Do you know which car took last place?
No, tell me.
It was Fiat.
The 500. Poor Fiat.
If it sounded like that, it probably wouldn't have taken last place.
That sounded better than the Fiat.
It's so much fun, that vehicle.
It's great. I wanted it to be a Mini Cooper, the Cooper S, and it just wasn't.
I had Alex and Amber, my friends, were over the house last night, and they came over supposedly to visit them. But 10 minutes after they were there, they said, "We're thinking of buying a new car. What do you suggest?" This is a consultation, which I love to do actually. So it wasn't an issue for me. But we came down after looking at all. She's looking at a compact car, and after looking at all the vehicles, we came down to the Veloster and the 500.
What about the Forte?
These were her sort of the cars that met her choices. We went through everything. And we had someone that was rah-rah-rahing for Civic in the background, and we had a few other people who were rah-rah-rahing for different cars. She wants something that makes her stand out from the crowd a little bit and is fun to drive. And unfortunately, there's not many things that make you stand out from the crowd. The Soul was one, but they don't like the boxy vehicles, the Kia Soul. So we came up with those two, and I'm sure if I tell her about Fiat being the least quality brand in America right now, that she may choose the Hyundai Veloster.
But it was endorsed by Charlie Sheen, so it's got that going for it.
I don't know. Is that a plus?
That's arguable.
When we come back on Test Miles, we're going to have the guys from Certified Automotive Repair in the studio. We're going to talk about the 10 mistakes, I don't know if we get to all 10, that people do when maintaining their vehicles. We got that. We've got Russ Jr. from Beaverton Toyota is here. We're also going to be talking about what we've been test driving for the week. You're listening to Test Miles and FM News 101. I'm Nick Miles.
It's Test Miles on FM News 101. Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
I'm not actually sure I get that joke when the guy who does the voice, we have another room, there's a guy that sits in there that does the big deep voice, and he always says that every week, and I'm not sure what that means, if he refers to me being that one right turn.
Well, today in NASCAR, it's actually a road track, so there's going to be some left turns going on in that one.
Well, there's always left turns, isn't there?
I mean, some right turns, excuse me.
turns.
But it's a road track today, so it's not an oval.
I think he when he says one right turn, though, he's referring to me.
Yeah, because you're the only thing right.
Oh, and you're all wrong?
Yes. No, that's not the case at all.
Welcome back to Test Miles on FM News 101. I am Nick Miles, and if you'd like more from Test Miles, please visit our website at testmiles.com. We're on the Facebooks and the Twitters as well. Do you care about your car? If the answer is yes, then you'd love this next segment. But if your answer is no, we want you to start caring for your car every day. Here are some fun facts about car maintenance. Almost 900 million oil changes take place every year. Now, the first car tire was designed in 1911. Brad was there when that was designed. And it was similar to the bicycle tire. And the windshield wiper was invented by a woman. Insert joke here. Well, interesting facts about car maintenance. But we've invited our friends Brian and Ben from Certified Automotive Repair in Salem to come in and talk to us about the top mistakes and things that aren't done right when you're maintaining your car. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nick.
So you guys are the experts, and we are definitely not the experts. Some things that I know that are important when cars come into your shop and you look at them, do you often get people in there that maybe have tried to maintain it themselves and done a horrible job of it?
Yeah, we see that from time to time, and a lot of times people just trying to come into the shop usually have a lot of questions about what they can do, at their house or for their car themselves. And so we're always, really willing to share any kind of information or anything we can do to help them.
Now, you've seen, you guys worked, and you're part of our Land Rover Discovery team, which is, we're making this 2002 Land Rover into an amazing vehicle, which is going to be a luxury dog transportation. You guys did the head gasket on it. Now, when I take that in for an oil change, you have to flush the oil in that, right? I don't think there's an oil. It doesn't work the same way. Anyway, they charge me an awful lot if I go into the dealer to have that done. So that's not something I could do at home. Do you find people trying to do jobs at home that they just way out of their depth?
Yeah, we see that from time to time, or we'll get a phone call, of someone that's taken something apart, and has it right there in pieces. And
it's not as bad as putting it back together and having pieces.
There you go.
That's the worst. That's the worst part. Let's talk about tire rotation and inflation. Is that important? Do we care about that?
I think that'd be one of the real basic things that any do-it-yourselfer should be aware of, is that underinflation can lead to poor gas mileage, and overinflation will ruin your tires. So, I mean, those are pretty basic things that anybody at home should just be aware of all the time.
Now, it's available very easily to see what your tires should be inflated at. Very modern cars, new cars, of course, it appears on the dash. A lot of other cars, you just have to look on the inside of the door, right? It tells you what the tire should be inflated at. So do you check that when they come in for service? You check whether the car's tires have been inflated, just as a standard thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime the car comes into the shop here. Also, you can look at the tire, the sidewall there will always have a rating there of the max and minimum PSI on any tire.
Excellent. And the front and back, I noticed on a lot of cars are different. Is that right?
Yeah, on some. And then also, cargo, utility vehicles, vehicles carrying a heavy load will also have different kind of ratings there.
Excellent. What about those windshield wipers? Now, I'm not sure why a woman invented those. Because if you think when we first had windshields, it was probably when the car was first invented. And do you think she was like, honey, you can't see. We need to have something on the car. I'm not sure. Maybe she was driving. I don't know, and decided. But it's a great invention. Do you look at windshield wipers? Because I know personally that I wait until I can't see out of the car. Is that something that people just ignore on their car?
It really is, and we find a lot of that. We check them all year long. But, come wintertime, people are always, they'll have more tendency to notice it a lot more then. And, of course, at that point, we always change them. But there's nobody really wants to do it in the summertime, obviously.
I noticed, too, that they're fairly easy to replace, right? Windshield wipers. There's no good excuse for not taking care of them.
That's correct.
You just pop off and pop on a lot of them.
Yeah.
Although, of course, in the 2002 Land Rover, you need a special key, so make that easy. Tune-ups. Let's talk about tune-ups. We always used to hear about the old cars in the 50s and 60s going in for getting tune-ups, but do you really need to tune up some of these cars nowadays? Is there any point of people coming in to tune up their car?
Oh, well, absolutely. A tune-up is something that over your regular maintenance schedule will need to be done periodically, and that'll just depend on what car and manufacturer as far as the service interval. But tune-up, as far as performance on your car, you want to get the best out of your fuel mileage. It's all very important.
Especially if you have an older car, I'm guessing like 10 years old, 5 to 10 years old, and you haven't ever had it in for a tune-up. It's about time you probably took it in to make sure all the... But a lot of these valves are self-adjusting now, right?
Yeah, on some, and hydraulic valves as well. And different manufacturers will call actually for a tune-up can vary from 30 to 60,000 miles up to 100,000 miles. So we always check the manufacturer's recommendation on that. And
they change so much. I mean, it's the same with oil changes. Used to say need to have it every 3,000 miles, but the manufacturers now are saying no. Some of these vehicles can go 15, 20, 30,000 miles without an oil change, right?
Yes, on some. Absolutely.
But you need to make sure that you know what your car needs.
Yes, that's imperative, and the correct type of oil.
Let's talk about the gasoline now. A lot of people like to put the high octane in their vehicles when it doesn't necessarily need that. Does that do any damage? Should you be doing anything to?
It doesn't necessarily do damage. It's something that people can relate to feeling better performance on their vehicle. On a vehicle that you're putting higher octane in that doesn't call for it. It's kind of a preference type deal, driver and how their sensation when they're driving the vehicle. I can do that with some of my vehicles, and I can't tell the difference, driving it. If you're looking at it from an emission standpoint or something like that, with test equipment, you can see variations there. But, typically it's just kind of your customer's preference.
Now, Certified Automotive Repair in Salem, whereabouts are you guys located?
We're located, our address is 2880 22nd Street Southeast, and we're kind of tucked back behind the Spinnaker Lake area back there. And you can find us on the web at www.carsalem.com.
And so people can get in touch with you that way. Let me ask you a question. If somebody has some problems and they've been doing some maintenance, are you going to take their phone call and try and help them out of a hole?
Absolutely. We love to, field those problems with customers if they have them, and if we can help them out over the phone, we're definitely more than happy to do that.
I know one of the things when I came down to your shop a few weeks ago and talked to you, the interesting thing about Salem is that you guys don't have DEQ down there, and so some people forget to go and do anything about it when their engine light comes on, especially in Salem. It's not good, is it?
No, it's not.
So they can come down and see you. Thank you guys from Certified Automotive Repair in Salem, Brian and Ben. If you want to get in touch with them, we'll put a link on our website, and they will be back at the last segment of the show when we talk about what cars we've been driving. And, of course, they're always here to answer your questions. You're listening to FM News 101 KXL. It's a Sunday morning. I'm Nick Miles.
Throw it in neutral and coast in with TestMiles.com. It's Test Miles on FM News 101.
Welcome back to Test Miles on FM News 101 KXL. I'm Nick Miles, and today we thought we'd bring a local dealer into the show to talk a little bit about some of the opportunities that you might have to buy a new car, and also to talk a little bit about the brand. Russ Jr. is here from Beaverton Toyota. Russ, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks very much.
So we spent quite a long time trying to get you into the show. You clearly, the dealership is doing well because you're very busy.
It's been very busy. It's been very good. Thankfully, it's been a heck of a swing from a few years ago. It wasn't so busy. I could have been here every day for you at the time, but I know you weren't here quite yet. So it's been a nice change of events for us.
And it's a refresh has gone on at your dealership, right?
We have. We just finished up with our remodel, as you say there. It took us a few years because we couldn't afford to close the doors while we were doing it, so we phased it. We just completely got it finished, and it's really nice to be able to have one facility everybody comes into every day. They know where to park, they know where to go sell cars, where to fix cars. It's been great for us.
Now, you've been the company has been in business for over 40 years, is that
Correct,
right?
43 years.
43 years, and so that's about the same time as you came along.
Yeah, that is correct, yes.
It's almost identical
Yeah.
time, and it's not just about selling cars, but you have a bunch of business inside the one Beaverton Toyota dealership, right? So there's a body shop.
Oh, yes, we do. We do have our body shop and, of course, our service and parts and our accessories department, which is getting bigger and bigger along with our sales department.
And that's probably par for the course with most dealerships, isn't it? To have all those things that are offered on one site.
Yes, it is.
So let's talk a little bit about a couple of things. First of all, if I'm coming to Beaverton Toyota to look for a good deal, if I want to come in armed to a dealership, what's the best way to get the best deal out of you?
You know what I think? I think in general that there's a how do I say this? There's a lot of marketing dollars thrown out there by other companies that want to perpetuate the myth that it's difficult to buy a car at a dealership, and it is so easy. There is so much information. Look, dealers don't want to negotiate any more than the customer does. And we want to have it straightforward at a fair price and be able to get the customer in and out of there so they can still get to their kid's soccer game or their barbecue they've got planned. But sometimes I think what happens is there's so many different of these third-party vendors promising that, oh, hey, we guarantee you we can get you the lower price and low price. Of course they can't. I mean, it's the dealers are the ones who have the car, and these third-party companies charge a fee so that, that the dealer has to pay, or the customer sometimes has to pay, that ultimately gets passed through to the customer. So I think the long and the short of it is, if you go to manufacturer websites, if you go to dealer websites, go ahead and check out if you're one of the average car buyers out there. There's the average dealer, according to Google, or the average customer will check with 18 different websites to get themselves familiar with all the information before they come into the showroom. And knock yourself out. Go ahead and do that. And those are our favorite customers, the ones who come in, they're armed, they're prepared. We don't have to tell them, gee, this is a great deal, what we're offering you on our pre-discounted price, because they already know that it is. So those are the customers that seem to move through the process the quickest, and we're the happiest, and they're the happiest.
And so the other question that comes to mind for me is, when I looked at the Polk data, the number one selling car in Portland was Prius, and it by a long way. Like, it wasn't just a handful of cars; it was by a few thousand cars. And why is Prius Portland is almost as fanatical about Prius as LA is. And LA, you have to navigate amongst Prius to get through traffic. Why is the Toyota Prius such a huge hit in this city?
I think Portland's a progressive city, and I think that people like the idea of being able to get great technology, great gas mileage at really a great price. If you look at the technology in that car, for the amount of money that you pay for it, it's an incredible value. The cars are, knock on wood here, but they're bulletproof. There were originally concerns going back, 15 years ago when they first came out or so, that there was going to be, that battery is going to be a problem. And of course that has turned out to be, there's recycled Prius batteries being used to supply the energy for college dormitories, or I just read something like that last week. I think it was some lab at a college, but I think it's really bang for the buck.
Right?
They're not being replaced.
I occasionally have friends who work on Prius sometimes, and I occasionally hear about a battery being replaced. But a lot of times, those batteries that everyone was saying 3 years, and there's cars running around 15 years old or 12 years old or 7 years old that haven't had to have the battery replaced.
That's right, and I think that because of that, I think it's really snowballed. Prius has been being sold now for, I should know this, I think it was at 98 or when they were introduced, and I think a lot of it's word of mouth. I think that that's not true. I met for the first time just a few months ago, in the last 15 years, the first time I had ever met somebody who had a Prius and said, I didn't like that car. But it was the first, everybody else I've ever talked to, they just love the Prius, and I think that it's just word of mouth. They tell their friends and family, and it's just mostly sold by referral.
How many Priuses are on your lot at any one time? Can I walk? Of course I can order one and spec it out, but
sure.
It seems like you'd have to have at least 5 or 10 in stock.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no, we have closer to about 100.
Whoa.
Yeah, we sell through. I think we sold over 80 last month, so we need to have a supply on hand.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of Prius.
Yeah.
And now, a quick question: is it Prius or Prii?
That's a debate. And everybody still debates that. You know, Toyota actually had a competition online on their website about a year ago to see, was it Prius, Prii, Priuses, and Priuses was the winner by.
Really?
Yeah,
I feel like that's wrong.
It does. It feels wrong.
Because the apostrophe is in the wrong place.
I kind of like Prii just because it sounds fun.
Right. It sounds more scientific too.
Yeah.
And of course now they've expanded the line. There's not just there is now 4 different ones, right? So you've got the C, which is kind of the smaller, can go for a lot further on battery power alone. Gets better miles per gallon, like 50 something I think for the C.
The C is 55.
55.
Yeah.
There's the V, which is kind of the wagon version of the Prius, the original Prius, and then the plug-in hybrid.
Right.
The plug-in version, which that actually ends up being my favorite, although it seems to be priced quite a lot higher than the other ones. But it's my favorite because I tend to do enough miles where I can just do it on electric power alone. I think it does 16 miles on
roughly 13 to 16 miles, and those are the types of people who get the most benefit out of it. We have a couple of guys at Beaverton Toyota who bought one, and they live within about 10 miles, and so of course they try to geek out with them and see what their MPG can be. But the one, I think he told me something ridiculous, like he had put a gallon of gas in it in the last month.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wouldn't everybody love to be in that kind of situation?
Yeah.
Do you offer your employees charging at the at your facility, or do they run cables out from the lunchroom out to the car?
We have 2 charging facilities. In fact, we're in the middle of installing another one right when you pull in. But we do have them, and they're not front and center. You have to go around back to get to them. But yeah.
So now my final question for you, and it's something that you have I'm not sure semi-purposely built a reputation for, but everyone who knows me knows that I'm a crazy dog guy. In fact, my favorite vehicle, dog transportation vehicle, happens to be a Toyota. It's the Venza. I think it's the most genius piece of car ever invented. It's my favorite vehicle, absolutely hands down. But you have a reputation at Beaverton Toyota for being kind of the dog-friendly dealership, right?
Yeah, and that's kudos to my sister Margie. Actually, she's a dog person as well. She's got a couple of labs that are featured in our commercials, and so when we remodeled our dealership, we have a dog walk, we have a couple of dog stations, we always have pet treats, we have a accessory area specifically for pets on the go, we call it. So they've got harnesses for your dog. And
do you do only the dog accessories for Toyota vehicles, or you do them for other vehicles?
We're just a single Toyota dealership, so they're primarily for Toyotas, but most of the products are things that you can use in any vehicle.
Excellent. If people want to buy a car from you, they want to know more, where's the best place to get hold of you? And do they need to come to the dealership, or can they look at you online? What's the best place?
Whatever's easiest for them. There's always those 2 personalities out there, right? The kind of person who wants to come in and meet and somebody face-to-face, and the other one who wants to be online. So, easiest way that's going to save you the most time is go straight to our website. And, of course, we're always available over in Beaverton off Murray. BeavertonToyota.com.
So thanks, Russ, for being a guest on the show. I'm sure people are going to come in now and bug you. I'm sorry about that.
That's fine. That's what I do.
Right. And if you want a Toyota or need to know anything about Toyotas, or especially dog accessories, Beaverton Toyota is a place to go.
That would be great. Thanks.
Excellent. You're listening to Test Miles and FM News 101. I'm Nick Myers.
Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com. It's Test Miles on FM News 101.
Well, good Sunday morning to you. This is Nick Myers listening to Test Miles and FM News 101. We have a few minutes left in the show. Ben, Brian, Brad, Sean, Andrew, and myself still in the studio. It's very crowded in here.
Yes.
Which one of you isn't using deodorant, by the way?
I think yeah.
So we talked about at the top of the show a little bit about the fact that I had an impromptu visit by Alex and Amber, who wanted a new car, and Amber has decided to call in and give me grief. Are you going to give me grief, Amber?
No, actually, I didn't expect to hear anything about us today, so...
You were surprised when we talked about you on the radio. Did you hear that Fiat was the, what was it, Brad? The least on the quality?
The quality list, the
quality
JD Power,
list, the
it
Fiat,
was 0.0.
0.0 for Fiat. So now you're left with a Hyundai Veloster. Is that going to be your choice?
Actually, you gave pretty good reviews of, like, the Mazda 3, so I've been looking that up all night along with the Veloster. So,
excellent. Are you going to go test drive one?
What was that?
Are you test driving one?
We probably will sometime this week.
Excellent. Well, when are you buying a new car?
We were not wanting to rush ourselves because we wanted to make our best choice, but we were thinking within the next few months.
Excellent. Well, good luck. If there's anything else we can do for you, let me know. And I'm sure there's plenty of people willing to help you buy a new car. Thank you so much, Amber, for being on the show. And Alex, good luck with your car purchase. Now, Andrew, what cars did you check out of the garage this week to let us drive?
Well, you guys are lucky because I was running late this week. But I gave you you only got one this week because I was tired of you taking two. Greedy.
Greedy.
You get the VW Passat TSI. Mr. Sean got the Honda Civic, and Brad got the Mazda 6.
Excellent. Well, all right, Sean, go ahead. Tell us about the Honda Civic.
I checked out the 2014 Honda Civic EXL, and this is the 9th generation for Civic. It's been around for a while, and it's one of their top sellers. The one it had a 1.8-liter engine, 143 horsepower CVT transmission. It's really nice. I was actually surprised how well it handled in the city and how well it handled in general. The best things I like about it is how they have this instruments cluster where the speedometer and everything's above the steering wheel, so it's center stacked. Then you have your tachometer where you normally see a speedometer in your tach, but it's a great car. The only bad thing I had about the car was on a long drive yesterday. My legs were starting to get a little cramped up sitting in it.
Well, it is a compact car. Do you guys see a lot of them down at Certified Auto?
Absolutely.
You do?
We see a lot of those.
Yeah, and because it's probably more a common car, but they don't have major issues, do they?
No, for an everyday driving car, point A to point B, it's very accommodating.
And the number one in the compact sellers too. Brad, tell us about the vehicle you were driving this week.
The Mazda 6, which is in the very, very competitive, largest segment in the car industry, the midsize family sedan.
It competes with the car I was going to talk about too, the Passat, if we have time.
Yeah, so its competition is like the Optima, the new 200 that we saw, the Altima Fusion, Accord, Camry. I mean, all really rock-solid vehicles.
It's the number one segment for car sales by volume.
And it's tough, but Mazda, what I liked on this vehicle is that it's distinctive. A lot of these tend to look like the Fusion and the Optima. If you see them coming, they look a lot alike. But the Mazda has a unique look, which is nice. And so and I love the paint. Mazda's paint, for some reason, I had that Soul Red or whatever.
Yeah, so they
it's
invented a special
fantastic.
spray head for that, and every single flex of the metallic lies in the same direction because of their new paint system.
And
so
it
when
really
you look up and down, it changes color from when you look right to left.
Spectacular paint. I mean, it sounds silly, but that is a great feature on that car.
Hell for a body shop, though.
Yeah, that's good. Planned obsolescence coming into the dealership. But it comes, the engine's, the only one that they have is the 184 horsepower, 2.5, four-cylinder. So some of its competitors will be turbocharged, or they have the V6. But
they will have a diesel in this eventually.
Eventually. It was supposed to be sooner than it will be.
I have stories about that.
But it is a really fun car, and it felt more to me like a coupe than it did to a sedan. I wanted to stick in that thing. It really was responsive. But for some people, they'll find the ride a little more stiff than the Accord or some of the more family sedan-type vehicles.
It is a good car. Price?
It starts at $29.90, but that's with the base, with the stick that nobody really buys. So the one I drove was fully loaded at $33. Most of them are going to be going for right at about $29.
Yeah, no, they're good cars. I drove one in L.A. recently. It was a lot of fun, the Zoom driving. I'll quickly tell you about the vehicle. I've been driving the 2014 VW Passat. It's really set apart from the European styling. They've made this an American car with lots of interior room fuel efficiency. The diesel engine is an option in this 2014. High-quality cabin on the inside. Average passenger cargo space is really good. It's quiet. It's been redefined. It's much better on the fuel efficiency. And, of course, you can get the the V6, which a lot of vehicles now just doing the 4-cylinder in this size. Well, the things I didn't really like about it, the acceleration's a little sluggish in the 2.5. The TDI engines are my preference, although I drove the TSI, which is the gas engine. And the touchscreen electronics, although simple, are a little difficult to deal with. 2.5 inline 5-cylinder, 170 horsepower, front-wheel drive, 35 miles per gallon, and competes with that Mazda 6. The Navi is easy to use, and the acceleration is smooth, but not as aggressive as I'd like, around $20,000 starting price. So 8 out of 10 I gave this vehicle. Thanks to Ben and Brian. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Andrew, for being on the show. You check us out on the web at testmiles.com. We will be back next week with more great car stuff here on FM News 101. I'm Nick Miles.
Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.